Welcome everybody as we commemorate the Shahada of Imam Hassan alayhi salam and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. We will begin the program with the recitation of the Holy Quran. I would like to invite Hadi Rizvi for Quran after a loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والسماء ذات البروج واليوم الموعود وشاهد ومشهود. قتل أصحاب الأخدود النار ذات الوقود إذ هم عليها قعود وهم على ما يفعلون بالمؤمنين شهود. وما نقموا منهم إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض والله على كل شيء شهيد. إن الذين فتنوا المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثم لم يتوبوا فلهم عذاب جهنم ولهم عذاب الحريق. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار ذلك الفوز الكبير. إن بطش ربك لشديد إنه هو يبدئ ويعيد وهو الغفور الودود ذو العرش المجيد فعال لما يريد. هل أتاك حديث الجنود فرعون وثمود بل الذين كفروا في تكذيب الله من ورائهم محيط بل هو قرآن مجيد في لوح محفوظ. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Another loud salawat for Hadi's recitation. Before moving on, I would like to recognize the sponsor of tonight's program, Brother Ali Shah and family. If we can please do a Surah Fatiha for he and his family's marhumin and the marhumin of everybody in this room after loud salawat. Now I would like to invite up Brother Muhammad Ibrahim for a salam after loud salawat.
Salawat. Here lies the kin of Hassan, the grandson of Muhammad, the son of Ali. Then why has his corpse been pierced with these arrows, been poisoned away and left lonely? The wails of Zainab, the screams of Abdullah, The cries of Qasim, the tears of Hussein have drowned the shrieks of the Lady of Light, who has come to see this time of pain. Here lies the kin of Hussein, the grandson of Muhammad, the son of Ali. Then why has his corpse been pierced with these arrows, been poisoned away and left lonely? He's the master of the youth of paradise. He is a flower in the prophet's eyes. He's the kind, the most generous one. But now he's gharib, the loneliest guide. Here lies the kin of Hussein, the grandson of Muhammad, the son of Ali. Then why has his corpse been pierced with these arrows, been poisoned away and left lonely? Abandoned by his army and then poisoned by his wife, he'd lay alone in his days and nights, deprived of his claims, deprived of the truth. He was separated from his claims and rights. Here lies the kin of Hussein, the grandson of Muhammad, the son of Ali. Then why has his corpse been pierced with these arrows, been poisoned away and left lonely? The petals of Hassan were pierced with arrows. Tortured was he even after his death. Who knows the plight of Zahra and Ali, while he lay poisoned, when he lay there dead? Here lies the kin of Hussein, the grandson of Muhammad, the son of Ali. Then why has his corpse been pierced with these arrows, been poisoned away and left lonely? The poison had got his liver into bits. The constant stings had gotten his heart. He let out a sigh and a painful cry. His side fluttered when he closed his eyes. Here lies the kin of Hussein, the grandson of Muhammad, the son of Ali. Then why has his corpse been pierced with these arrows, been poisoned away and left lonely?
another loud salawat for Brother Muhammad's recitation. Now I'd like to invite up Brother Ali for a recitation after a loud salawat.
Ridan biqadaihi wa tasliman li-amri. These are the words attributed to Imam Hassan on the day of Ashura. I am content with what Allah has destined and I submit to His command. Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? When he says, Taqaddam ya Ali, when he says, Taqaddam ya Ali, enter the battlefield. Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? As he hears the call of al-Qasim, as he hears the call of al-Qasim, Ya Ammu adrikni. Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? When he hears the cries of al-Atash, when he hears the cries of al-Atash from the camps of Ahl-e Haram, do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? When he runs toward Abbasijari, when he runs toward Abbasijari, as he sees the standard fall, do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? Do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of Aka Hussain? As he takes the slaughtered body of, as he takes the slaughtered body of Asghar to Rubab, do you hear Ridan biqadaihi on the lips of of Aka Hussein? Do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? When he hears Sakina bewailing, when he hears Sakina bewailing, do not leave us, Baba. Do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? Do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? As he hears the pleading of Zainab, as he hears the pleading of Zainab, Mahalan yabna Zahra, do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? Do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? As he feels the dagger on his neck, as he feels the dagger on his neck, and says, Inna lillah, do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? Do you hear Ridan biqada'ihi on the lips of Aka Hussein? Salawat. Thank you.
Jazakumullah for that wonderful recitation. Another loud salawat for Brother Ali. Now I would like to invite our respected speaker and scholar, Hujjatul Islam, Sayyid Sulayman Hassan, after loud salawat.
Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim wa ad-dallin. A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين شفيع المذنبين وحبيب قلوب الصادقين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين الهداة المهديين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد فقد قال الله عز وجل في القرآن المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. Respected mu'mineen and mu'minat, as you know, today we are remembering in the closing nights of the month of Safar the death of our beloved Prophet of Islam, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alih. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And the martyrdom of our Prophet's grandson and our second Imam, Imam Hassan ibn Ali al-Mujtaba alayhim as-salam. And according to narrations, there were many different forms of resemblance between our beloved Prophet and his grandson, our Imam, Imam Hassan. One of those was a physical resemblance, that just in terms of the physical features and the complexion and the manner of speech and posture and personality and the way that our Imam looked, he was very closely in resemblance to our Prophet. And that carried over to his character and to the way that he interacted with and led the Muslims in his time. And one of the best descriptions of our prophetic character and the character of Imam Hussein is found in a brief but very comprehensive verse found in the 3rd chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 159. And this is the verse that describes the character of our Prophet. As we will see, it also describes the character of our Imam, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And it also gives an indication of the manner of leadership and the form of social and political organization that Muslims should have. That is an important question when we look at the life and the lessons we learn both from our Prophet and Imam Hassan. Allah says in Surah Al-Imran, verse number 159. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. It is through the mercy of Allah, O Messenger, that you are very gentle and very soft with people. Now, why is that a mercy of Allah? Because generally speaking, it's easy to be soft if you don't have any goals or any expectations of somebody. Even in a family, you'll often find that if you have one relative, one uncle, one aunt, one sibling, a parent who has high expectations or who contributes a lot to a relationship, then the natural other side of that same coin is that they will also have expectations. Sometimes if you have an extended family, there is one person who always invites everybody over for Eid, for get-togethers, for gatherings. That person remembers everyone's special occasions, their birthday, their anniversary, their personal events. They remember when somebody is sick, they call them, they pray for them. But then often that one person in the family is also the one who complains, so-and-so, they came, but they didn't call me, or they didn't remember this event, or I am the older relative, I should have gotten the first congratulations, but they remembered somebody else first. So those of you who are from extended families or traditional families, you're familiar with this kind of a controversy. The reason that that person is disappointed is not just because they enjoy the drama, although there are some people who enjoy the drama, but often it is because they invest in those relationships and they remember and they reach out and they take time away from their own day in order to prepare the house and to invite everybody and to honor everyone. And so naturally they also have a desire and an expectation of reciprocation. Otherwise, if I say live and let live, everybody should just be easy. On the surface, I am the very pleasant person because I never get mad. You come, you come. You can't come? No problem. Or you tell me you're going to come and then you cancel last minute? No problem. It seems to be pleasant, right? But on the other side, that person is also not going to keep a family together through thick and thin. If you have an emergency and you need somebody's assistance at 3 a.m., or you need an emergency loan, that person is probably not going to go out of their way to help you either. So remember both sides of the coin. Often we remember one side and we forget the other. We are willing to take the good, but then we are not willing to put up with the bad. It's human nature in every relationship, and I just give these examples. I know some of us, we may not come from large and extended families and clans or very close-knit families and communities. Or many of us, we kind of are between two different cultures or two different generations. And so we say, well, that community or that family, there's always a complaint and there's always some politics or some controversy going on because we are only looking at the negative side. But those same parents who are always on your case, they are going to look after you. They are going to pray for you. They are going to sacrifice their own material comfort to make sure that you get a good start in life. So if you have to then have patience and put up with some questions about where you're going and where you're coming that you might prefer they didn't ask, remember the benefit that is coming alongside with it. So the natural course of humanity is the more expectations you have, the more you're going to be strict. And the bigger responsibility or burden you have on your shoulders, some people, they don't feel that burden. They say the minute that there is a difficulty, I'll just submit my resignation and I will leave. I will apologize that I told you I would help you get established, but you know what, I can't extend the loan, I can't come over, or I need to back out with our time, with our investment, with our assistance, whatever it might be. But other people, no, if they tell you that they are going to be with you, then they will be with you through thick and thin. So people who feel a responsibility, and the greater the responsibility, the greater the burden is. And naturally, it is very difficult to take things easy when there is a big burden or a responsibility on your shoulders. And now you can imagine what a mercy it was for the ummah. This verse is not just saying that, you know what, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi salatu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He was a carefree individual, happy-go-lucky, and it doesn't matter who accepts Islam and who rejects Islam. It doesn't matter what goes on around him. He was just very soft and gentle. No, he had the greatest responsibility of any human being in history. Because it was his task to be Khatamun Nabiyyin, to be the seal and the end of prophethood. And not just to be the seal and the completion and culmination of prophethood, but to lay the foundation of imamat, to carry on the task of divine guidance until the Day of Judgment. To set the foundation by which humanity will be liberated from false belief and religion and injustice and oppression. If that task was carried out by the Imams from the family and the progeny of our Prophet, then who was the one that first unfurled that flag and established that movement and laid the foundation and then passed that flag first to Amir al-Mu'mineen and then to Imam Hassan and then to Imam Hussein and then to each Imam in the descendants of Imam Hussein? That was Rasulullah Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. So now those of you who have had like a heavy responsibility in life, imagine what a burden it is. Maybe for some of us, it's the first time we have to take a very difficult test. A law graduate preparing for the bar exam. A medical graduate preparing for a board exam. A new employee preparing for their first real test of their competence. Or maybe when they're going to pass a probationary period and now become a full-fledged employee or have equity in the company that they're working for. Or if you are an entrepreneur and you start a new business, and now you have to work and look after your inventory and your services and your rent and landlord and your employees and your customers and the government regulations. So just when you have that, this is not reforming the world. You're starting a restaurant. You're preparing for a single exam. You have one task that might be very important to the destiny of your life and maybe your family, but not to all of humanity until the end of time. And then when you are in that stressful period, the last night before your exam, the night before you have to get your certification, or a government agency is going to come and audit your books, or whatever test you have, how much patience do you have if your own children come with some minor complaint that they have? Or there's drama in your family. It might be your sibling. It might be your child. It might be your parent. It might be a long friend. But you will say, I don't have time for this right now. I've got things going on in my life. Have all of us done that? Or at least experienced it and had a hard time to control our anger and to take a deep breath and say, tell me, what is it that you want to talk about? While your mind is thinking about your responsibility. Now imagine our Prophet, he wasn't responsible just for one test, one small business, one household that he was managing. Allah had given him a task in a society, not just in Arabia, but in the entire world, steeped in paganism and idol worship and ignorance, to lift humanity out of that darkness, not just for one era, but for all time, not just for one region, but for the entire world, and not just for the people of one ethnicity or language or cultural group, but for all of the diversity of the human family. Our Prophet had such a momentous task, which no human being, and even no Nabi and no Rasul had before his time. And Allah says that in spite of this Herculean task, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. Allah made you as kind and as easy as if you had no burden on your shoulders. So here we have a very small masjid, just one small institution in one corner of the world, and a few hundred families that we are working with. And we have a few of our very dedicated volunteers, trustees here present with us. Ask them, or ask me, how much it is difficult sometimes to hear the types of questions or complaints that people have. If you spend your effort preparing, not for any personal profit, not for any personal interest, a service to the community where you are not getting any direct benefit in this world, or at least you are not seeking any direct benefit in this world. And many of our volunteers, they are anonymous. So they don't even, I at least get gratitude when something goes well. But many of them, they work and they put in hours and they don't get gratitude. But then somebody comes and they just have negativity. They have complaints. They will say, why isn't this like this and why isn't it like that? So you think, all right, if we have a noble task, there's no time for us to deal with this nonsense. And you might feel like, let me scold this person. Let me give this person a piece of my mind and tell them exactly what went on behind the scenes for a simple program or a simple service to be able to be performed. How many hundreds of hours, how much effort. And when you think about that, especially if you are a volunteer, I'm speaking here to those people who are the backbone of your families. And sometimes you may feel underappreciated. That I'm always there for everybody, but nobody is there for me. I'm thinking of retiring. I'm thinking that I'm not going to host the Eid dinner this year, or I'm not going to host the Thanksgiving dinner. Why does it have to be me every year? Or those people who are volunteers here in this community or in any other capacity, where sometimes you feel overwhelmed. You feel like there are better things that you can do with your time. Just think of our Prophet Muhammad and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. Salatu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. How much more did they have to put up with? And the hadith are there, that people would come and object to the Prophet. He would get revelation from Allah, and people would say, but I have an opinion, but I have a thought. Now, if somebody comes to you, I have a little bit of study of religion. When somebody comes to me and tells me that I don't know Arabic, I've never opened a book of law, but I have an opinion about this issue, then it is kind of difficult to take that person seriously. If you are a physician and somebody with no knowledge of your field reads the latest conspiracy online and comes to you and starts to teach you your field, or if you are an expert in any other field, how difficult is it for you to then sit there and say, let me value your opinion. Let me deal with you with humility and respect. When you know that that person does not have even a slight idea of what they are talking about. And Rasulullah, did he ever kick anybody out? Did he ever say that, get lost, don't come back to Medina? Did Imam Hassan, when people would come from Sham, and before anything else, they would begin to curse Imam Ali, and Imam Hassan, and Imam Hussein, and all of those people that Muawiyah taught them to curse? Did Imam Hassan ever say, I don't want to see you? I don't want you to be found in Medina? Or did he say, you are a stranger. Let me see what I can do to bring you comfort and rest. And if you have any needs while you are visiting the city of the Prophet, or if you are going on for Hajj or Umrah, let me serve you. Now, think in this verse, is Allah praising the Muslims, or is he praising the Prophet in spite of the human weaknesses and failings of the Muslims. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. O Messenger, if you had been harsh and hard-hearted, they would have dispersed from your side. Meaning the Muslims, they are not going to be willing to suffer a harsh teacher. Our adab and our obligation is that if somebody is a senior or somebody is in a person that we should respect, then we should put up even with their harshness. So if it is my parent, I have to honor my parent. I can't say that, well, my parents, they could be a little bit more encouraging when I do something good. They could be a little bit less harsh when I make a mistake. They are a little bit critical. Okay, if they are critical, then that is their struggle and their obligation to refine their character. But I, as a son or a daughter or a grandchild, my obligation is to honor them. If I have a teacher, then my job is not to go to my teacher and say, but you need to be like this, but you need to be like that. I would respect you if you did this. If they are an elder, if they are a teacher, if they are a family elder, then I need to show respect, even if they are hard-hearted. But the Quran says that if, O Messenger, you had been strict, or if you had been harsh or hard-hearted, they would not have looked to see is what you are saying right or wrong. They would have dispersed. لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Meaning the Quran is telling us that those companions, their character was such that they were with the Prophet due to the softness and the kindness of the Prophet more than they were there due to the correctness of the message of the Prophet. This is a very important point. If you look at the history of Islam and the false narrative of heroism that has been constructed around the companions, the romanticized version of history that they were all just and they were all sincere, the Quran doesn't say that, O Messenger of Allah, you should be harsh and strict. This is God's mercy. But it is mercy, it isn't our right that we can demand from God or the Prophet. And it isn't fair that we would disperse. That is our human weakness. That even if what the Prophet says is right, if we were harsh, if the Prophet were harsh, then the people would disperse. Now that is a message for us as parents. I've given the message that your child owes you their respect even when you are harsh and even when you are strict. But if you are a parent, or if you are a teacher, or if you are an alim, or if you are an elder in your community or in your family or in work or in any other circle, then the best uswa and example you have is Rasulullah. And so, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. Be soft. And don't be over harsh and demanding and critical of those people who are in your care and in your charge. And if anybody has any doubt what the balance of rights and responsibilities is, then the very next message clarifies. فَاعْفُوا عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. O Messenger, this is how people are. They are not entitled, but they will still refuse to listen to you if you are harsh. So, فَاعْفُوا عَنْهُمْ. Forgive them. Now, forgive them is not enough. And this is a very important point for us to remember. This verse is very profound. In this one sentence, so many different messages are combined. Sometimes we think that if I have wronged a person, I just have to apologize to that person. Even in our culture, in a marriage, for example, God forbid, people speak of cheating on one's spouse. But this is not an Islamic framing of sin. If I cheat, then I am disobeying Allah, and I am cheating my own self and my own soul and my own salvation before I am wronging anyone else. And that is hinted in this verse, where Allah says, "Fa'fu anhum." O Messenger, you forgive them. But then remember that when they sin and when they are unkind or disobedient, it is not just the Prophet that they need forgiveness from. They also need forgiveness from Allah. وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. And seek forgiveness from Allah for them. This is a reminder for me and you as well, that if I wrong somebody, yes, I need to come to you and say, I am sorry. But then it is also a responsibility to Allah, and I need to repent and I need to obtain forgiveness from Allah, because every right that a human being has is a right of that human being given by him to Allah. You've all heard in ahadith that we have huququllah and huququl ibad. Huququllah are the obligations you owe to Allah. Huququl ibad are the obligations that you owe to each other. But remember, in reality and in the final analysis, there are only huququllah. And then Allah has delegated certain responsibilities and obligations among people. So huququl ibad are also huququllah before they are the rights of individuals. And then the next sentence is a very unexpected corollary. The people, they are only with you, Ya Rasulullah, because you are soft and kind with them. You overlook their mistakes. Don't think that all of these Muslims, whether they are thousands or they are tens of thousands, all of them, they are there just for the sake of Allah, and they will be there through thick and thin and hardship and ease and wealth and poverty. It is because the Prophet is so kind and so merciful, more so than one's own mother, that they stuck with the Prophet. فَاعْفُوا عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Now, in our life and in our society, and I said this verse also talks about the political and social relationships of Muslims, we think that democracy is an ideal. Consultation is an ideal. We idealize the idea of seeking people's opinion and then going with the majority. And sometimes when we want to buttress our opinion, children do this with their parents. But everybody has a phone at my age. Why are you saying I can't have a phone? But everybody's allowed to stay awake until midnight. Why are you telling me I have to go to bed early? But everyone's doing this. And as adults, we have the same idea. This is what everybody says. So we sometimes idealize the idea of what the majority wants. I'm not going to quote the person because it's a name that I don't want to mention from the minbar. But there was a political leader in the 20th century. He accurately said that democracy is the worst system of government imaginable, except for all the other alternatives. So that is a more realistic understanding of the place of majority opinion. It is not an ideal. It doesn't bring you to what is right. It doesn't generally lend itself to the most responsible or the long-term good of people. But then, to be a dictator, to be autocratic, is also its own problem for a family or for a society. It solves one problem, you can be efficient, and you can ignore all of the foolish opinions that people bring. But it creates another problem in that it doesn't train people to be wise and to learn from their mistakes. So democracy is the worst system, that's true. It doesn't bring you justice. It doesn't bring you what is right. Don't idealize and then take your morals from what is popular or what everybody else thinks or says or does. Don't follow the crowd. But then in the end, look at all the alternatives. And the alternatives will take you to a worse place. And see how beautifully and eloquently Allah gives that message in Surah Al-Imran, speaking to the Prophet, that these are the failings of your community. They will skip what is right if you say it with a little bit of harshness. فَاعْفُوا عَنْهُمْ, you need to forgive them. وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ, and you need to ask Allah to forgive them. But then وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ, go and consult with them. You still need to respect the opinion and the views of your people. Because in the end, Islam does not want you to say, my family are fools, I'm better off on my own. Allah is the one who gave you your family. And so if you disassociate with them because they are fools, then you are calling Allah foolish, because it is He who gave you that family as your test. Allah does not want you to say that my community is frustrating or foolish and so I will separate myself. Yes, فَاعْفُوا عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. Allah is telling you that these are the frustrations and the failings of a collective. Any collective, small or large. But وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. O Messenger, in spite of that, not because they are going to guide you, you are guided by Allah. Not because they are going to inform you of what you didn't know. Allah is the one who is informing the Prophet of what is right. But you need to seek their consultation. And then when you have consulted, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Then don't just keep changing your mind. Make a decision and rely on Allah. And once again, if you want to understand the role of consultation and majority opinion, Allah concludes the verse by saying, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. What is going to get you to your destination, salvation, reward, and success? It is reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This consultation is only to include people and to be a good member of a family, of a society, of a community. But it is not that you rely on your numbers. You rely on Allah for success and for reward. In the Battle of Hunayn, Muslims thought that they had the numbers and they would achieve victory, but they fled before an enemy that had worse arms than they did. But because they weren't trusting in Allah, they were trusting in their numbers. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the life of our Prophet is a beautiful example of how we should be in a community and in a society. The patience and the ability to work towards a long-term goal. One incident from the life of Imam Hassan that also demonstrates that close resemblance between Imam Hassan and our Prophet, and then inshallah we will move to conclude today's talk. All of you are familiar that after the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan concluded a truce with Muawiyah. And this is something that many people have written about and they have confusion about. But why did Imam Hassan conclude that truce? Why did he do something that would create controversy in his time and confusion until today? Well, much can be said, but one incident is very illustrative. He was practicing this verse of the Quran revealed to Prophet Muhammad, because the leadership of our Imams was based on the model of our Prophet and no other model. They were not continuing the Roman tradition of kingship or the Persian tradition of kingship, but rather the prophetic model of guidance and leadership. So as he was preparing his army, Imam Hassan, he spoke to the people and he gave a sermon. He said that Muawiyah has called us to a truce. And the way the Imam described it, Inna Muawiyah da'ana ila amrin laysa fihi izzun wala nusfa. Muawiyah has called us to something in which there is neither honor nor is there justice. So Imam Hassan, he also gave his guidance to the people if they were looking for guidance. That if you accept this call of Muawiyah, you're not going to get honor in this world, you're not going to get justice. Not izz and not nusfa or insaf. Nusfa means insaf. Laysa fihi izzun wala insaf. Nusfa means insaf. Then the Imam says, so if you are ready for death, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If you're ready for death, then let us refuse the offer of Muawiyah. But if you prefer to live, then we can accept the offer of Muawiyah. This was consultation of Imam Hassan. And many people, they might have thought that consultation is because people have legitimacy. And what people want is what is right. Majority defines what is good and what is desirable. That is not the case. That is not the message of the Quran. The right answer of the people would have been to say to Imam Hassan that you are our Imam. You tell us what we should do. And if you tell us that you think making peace is better, we will obey. And if you tell us that the sacrifice and the hardship and the struggle of war is more valuable, then we are ready to make war. But what did people say? Al-Buqya, Al-Buqya, Amd al-Sulh. Or Al-Baqiyya, Al-Baqiyya, Amd al-Sulh. We want to live, we want to survive, we want to live in peace and prosperity. Go and sign this truce. There was neither peace and there was neither prosperity, but because people did not understand the Quranic purpose of consultation, and they did not understand their obligation to the Prophet and to the Imam appointed by the Prophet, they did not support their Imam, and our Imam was compelled to sign that truce. Much more can be said about the details, but that is the essence. And the final point that I will say is that this model of leadership that we learn from Ahlul Bayt is one that builds a solution to the deepest problems of society, and so by its nature, in the beginning you may wonder what is going on. But eventually you will see what was the wisdom of the direction that Ahlul Bayt were leading you. Until the battle of Ahzab or Khandaq, the Muslims were in a defensive position and posture in Medina. After the battle of Khandaq, for the first time, that defensive posture of the Muslims began to change. With the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, and then the conquest of Khaybar, and then the other victories that came one after another. The conquest of Mecca, the defeat of Hawazin, and conquest of Ta'if, and so on. And immediately, once the Muslims felt power, then they began objecting to the Prophet who didn't exercise his power. In the battle of Hudaybiyah, those companions objected. We have the strength. We can defeat the Quraysh. The Prophet did not want to achieve a military victory. He wanted to spread the message of Islam. And so he signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah for the purpose of Islam. But the companions, they saw the military advantage and they wanted to fight a battle. Then after the battle of Tabuk, when Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, the leader of the Munafiqeen, died, the Prophet had a very conciliatory approach. According to narrations, the son of the leader of the Munafiqeen, Abdullah, the father's name was Abdullah and the son's name was also Abdullah. Abdullah, the son, was a true believer. And Abdullah ibn Ubay, the father, was the head of the Munafiqeen. When he died, the son came to the messenger and said, Ya Rasulullah, will you lead the funeral prayer? The Prophet said, yes. He said, will you give him your own clothing as a shroud? The Prophet said, yes. And some of the companions came and objected. He is a munafiq. He is an enemy of Allah. We should not do this. Once again, they viewed things from a military perspective, but our Prophet is فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُ. You are gentle and you are soft, and therefore you do what is in the long-term interests of the Muslim, not just to get an immediate advantage and a victory. And the same thing is with Imam Hassan alayhi salam. He signed that treaty, yes, because of the failing of the Muslims, but also because, like Rasulullah, he had a long goal in his mind. Rasulullah wanted to have conciliation so the Muslim ummah will be able to grow and you people will enter into Islam and the message of Tawheed can come to humanity. And in one word, if I want to say the spiritual wisdom of the truths of Imam Hassan, it was because he knew that that battle with Yazid and with Muawiyah and the forces of Yazid is going to come. So that temporary truce will allow him and Imam Hussein to prepare the believers to have the level of devotion that would allow the battle of Karbala to take place. Rasulullah was building not just for Hudaybiyah or for the victory over Arabia, but for the spread of Islam to humanity. Imam Hassan wanted not a victory over Muawiyah in Syria, but a victory over the evil that Muawiyah and Yazid represented until the end of time. And so the truce of Imam Hassan represents the beginning and the foundation of the victory of Imam Hussein in Karbala, and the victory of Imam Zainul Abidin and Lady Zainab in Kufa and in Damascus. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And that is why you will see that when the time for the death of our Prophet came, when the time of moment of death of Imam Hassan approached, then, as happened in the case of all of our ma'asumeen, they remembered that supreme tragedy of Karbala. Rasulullah, in his final moments, Ahlul Bayt were mourning the coming loss of our Prophet and his death. But tears were in the eyes of our Prophet as he used to weep throughout the early years of the life of Imam Hussein, remembering the sacrifice and the tragedy and the martyrdom of his grandson. And even in his final moments, he cradled Imam Hussein in his arms and said that, "Oh Allah, this grandson of mine is going to be martyred in the most tragic circumstances." And the same thing is true of his grandson Imam Hassan in Medina. Now, almost 40 years after the death of the Prophet, Imam Hassan is on his deathbed and he is martyred with poison that has made it difficult for him to sit or speak, and that has changed the very color of his face, that beautiful face that people would look at and they would remember Rasulullah, now is losing its color because of the effect of the poison. And Imam Hassan is in pain and difficulty, and the blood is coming, and it is now the final moments of the life of our Imam. And he begins to weep, and he looks towards his brother. And although it is his death and his martyrdom, and he is suffering, he says to his beloved brother, "Oh my beloved Hussein, la yawmaka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. There is no day like your day, oh my beloved brother Hussein. I am on my martyrdom, and I am now going to leave my family, but I am in my own home. I am on my bed. I am surrounded by my loved ones. My son Qasim is in front of me. My brother Hussein is in front of me. My brother Abul Fadl al-Abbas is here. My sister Zainab and Kulthum, all of them are in front of me. And if I look outside, I can smell the fragrance of the grave of the Prophet, and I can bid farewell to my mother Fatima Zahra. But oh Hussein, what will be your state in Karbala when you are now in your final moments of life? You will not be surrounded by your family. You will be surrounded by the enemy from all sides, and you will look from the battlefield where your face is now going towards prostration, and you will see that the enemy is not far from the tents where the descendants of the Prophet and your women folk and children are. Oh Hussein, you will be on the battlefield, covered in wounds, covered in the blood and the sand of Karbala, surrounded by your enemy, and seeing as they approach the tents. Oh Hussein, when you are in Karbala, know that our prayers and our love is with you. And perhaps there was a voice that came from heaven in Ashura that, oh Hussein, don't say that you are alone, because your mother who raised you would not abandon you in that final moment of trial and martyrdom. She was there with you, a witness to your suffering and to your sacrifice. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Oh Allah, we ask you to grant us the character and the strength of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad alayhimus salam, our Prophet, Imam Hassan, and all of the members of Ahlul Bayt. They lived a life of devotion and sacrifice for a purpose. May we learn from their example, and may we be able to be worthy of their love and carry on the torch of their guidance in our lives. Oh Allah, use us for the purpose of your religion and the message of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad so long as we are alive. Do not ever deprive us of the honor of serving your path. Do not ever make us retire and forget the service of this path. And oh Allah, as soon as we leave this life to our eternal abode, then grant us the company, the intercession, the love, and the honor of being with Muhammad wa ali Muhammad for all eternity. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Matam Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. Oh, the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibt Rasool, Ya Hassan Mujtaba. Oh, the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibt Rasool, Ya Hassan Mujtaba. Oh, the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibt Rasool, Ya Hassan Mujtaba. You were called an Imam by Rasool Khuda, and beside al-Hussein you are abna'ana.
You were called an Imam by Rasool Khuda, and beside al-Hassan you were abna'ana.
We are gathered for you, Rabe Panjatan.
We are gathered for you, Rabi Panjatan.
Our salam unto you, O Imam Hassan, O the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibt Rasool, Ya Hassan Mujtaba. Everyone, one more time. Oh, the son of
Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibt Rasool, Ya Hassan Mujtaba.
Every battle you fought is your witness, Imam, whether Siffin it is or it is Naharawan.
Every battle you fought is your witness, Imam, whether Siffin it is or it is Naharawan.
When you lifted the sword, Thaniye Murtada,
when you lifted the veil, Chehra-e Mustafa,
oh, the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, louder, you are Sibt Rasool, Ya Hassan
Mujtaba.
Though the chosen Imam, you would still abdicate for the Ummah your right unto the Caliphate.
Though the chosen Imam, you would still abdicate for the Ummah your right unto the Caliphate.
But you penned in the truth in your treaty, Imam. So we see the sinister evil of Mir Sham. Oh, the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibt Rasool,
Ya Hassan Mujtaba.
As the people were drawn to your ilm-o-sakha, you were poisoned again and again in Jaffa.
As the people were drawn to your ilm-o-sakha, you were poisoned again and again in Jaffa.
But the venom would fail when you got your shifa.
that the venom would fail when you got your shifa.
From the touch of the grave of Rasul Khuda, O the son of Batul
and Ali Murtada, you are Sibte Rasul, Ya Hassan Mujtaba.
Jawda filled up your cup, tore your liver apart with the poison to kill every fish in Furat.
Jawda filled up your cup, tore your liver apart with the poison to kill every fish in Furat.
How you cried, Al-Atash, Sister Zainab Salam.
How you cried, Al-Atash, Sister Zainab Salam.
Then you said to Hussein, you are now the Imam, O the son of Batul
And Ali Murtada, you are Sibte Rasul, Ya Hassan Mujtaba.
When your body is brought near the Prophet's haram, and the arrows are shot in your coffin, Hassan.
When your body is brought near the Prophet's haram, and the arrows are shot at your coffin, Hassan.
As they clean up the blood and renew the kafan,
As they clean up the blood and renew the kafan,
Lady Zainab lament, so my brother Hassan, O the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibte Rasul,
Ya Hassan Mujtaba.
Last stanza. O the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibte Rasul,
Ya Hassan Mujtaba.
and for Qasim you gave Farwa a note, reading in Karbala, our Mawla he broke.
And for Qasim you gave Farwa a note, reading in Karbala, our Mawla he broke.
Oh my dearest Hussein, on you I am fida.
Oh my dearest Hussein, on you I am fida.
Oh my dearest Hussein, on you I am fida. Accept the sacrifice of Hassan Mujtaba, O the son of Batul and Ali Murtada, you are Sibte Rasul, Ya Hassan Mujtaba, Ya Hassan Mujtaba. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya
Ya
Hussein,
Hussein.
Ya Hussein.
Assalamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. Assalamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mujtaba. Assalamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. Assalamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mujtaba. Assalamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mujtaba. Peace be on you, O Muhammad Mustafa, and on your grandson Hassan al-Mujtaba. Peace be on you, O Muhammad Mustafa, and on your grandson Hassan al-Mustafa. Tonight all I want to is open my eyes and see on one side your green dome, on the other side Baqi. Tonight all I want to is open my eyes and see on one side your green dome, on the other side Baqi. Oh Allah, take me to the city of Medina. I want to visit your beloved Rasulullah. Oh Allah, take me to the city of Medina. I want to visit your chosen awliyaullah. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. Everyone, as-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. Peace be on you, O Father of Fatima, and on you, O the dear son of Murtada. Peace be on you, O Father of Fatima, and on you, O the dear son of Murtada. My heart bleeds every time that I think of your story. You wanted to be next to your grandfather Nabi. My heart bleeds every time that I think of your story. You wanted to be next to your grandfather Nabi, but they didn't let you. Instead showered you with arrows. Don't they know that they've only increased their own sorrows? But they didn't let you. Instead showered you with arrows. Don't they know that they've only increased their own sorrows? As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. But it don't matter, 'cause Hassan forever he shall be with the Prophet in heaven, where true servants all meet. But it don't matter, 'cause Hassan forever he shall be with the prophets in heaven, though I wonder where they'll be. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Muhammad Mustafa. As-salamu alayk ya Hassan al-Mustafa. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام على علي أمير المؤمنين. السلام على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام على الأئمة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، علي زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي والحسن بن علي الزكي العسكري والحجة بن الحسن القائم المهدي صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين. صلوات